Upset City here. Takeover title, episode 5, I believe. I feel like I've done a million of these, but I guess I haven't. Fort Lewis, and we got some big news. Everything is looking up, up, up. If you haven't bought already, buy now because stocks are only rising. We are up to a big C Prestige, massive. We made the second round of the national tournament, so credits, massive. Let's get into how everything's looking and what's going on with the team, right? So I'll jump right into it. I'm going to go over how the national tournament went. I'll go over the recruits, and then I might just jump into like briefly some player game plan stuff while I'm talking about the national tournament stuff. So anyway, we had the national tournament. We were where are we at? Right here. We were the 12 seed. We played against the 5 seed in the first round and ended up pulling up the upset. Here's how we did it, right? So this is not a team that shoots outside very much. That is very dangerous. So this is why it's important to like think about the roster construct for your team. And if you are very perimeter heavy, getting even one guy or two guys who could score down low, and if you're vice versa, if you're a very down low team, especially a down low team, I feel like you in this game it takes a lot of pressure off, as you can just see by me making a national tournament second round with just 2 shooters. Like that helps a ton. Considering my team is so bad, right? Like I had a walk-on play 13 minutes. Not a good roster, right? So what did I do? I went -3. I had to go slow down because, again, I'm only a 10-man. And I set it to swap anytime. So if this was a team that maybe he was like, oh, I'm shooting too many threes, or if just chance, he didn't shoot a ton of threes this game for whatever reason, maybe his guy fouls out, my guy or his guy gets injured, his only 3-point shooter, I can go more negative, and vice versa. I could always go more positive if if he found the light and started taking a ton of threes. So I went -3. It didn't matter. In the second half, the sim kept me at -3 anyway. So for those of you, for the anytime mechanic, it'll take your percentage, the opponent's percentage of shots, not even the percentage made, I believe. I think it's just percentage of shot attempts. And if they're shooting over a certain amount, the sim will either bring you up 1 to 2 points, so it would have brought me up as high as a -1, or it could have brought me as low as a -5. The reason I do that is in press especially, I don't want to be caught, and with a short bench, 10-man, I don't want to be caught with in foul trouble. So I go -3. Again, more negative is more likely to foul. And then in the second half, if say he was a total inside team, I still would probably go -3 and allow the sim to then bring me to -5. So the second half, I could even be more aggressive on that end without just running like strict like -4 throughout or something like that. I got lucky in that. Let me see. I think his star was Clayton Davis, right? So this is a senior who's been there 4 years, and he's not even maxed out on his IQs, which is strange. So this guy is not practicing enough his defense and offense enough. I mean, this guy's a monster. He really should have just dominated me. We held him to 7 of 16. We held him to 15-6. I mean, hey, it's under 50%. That's better than he's been doing. The rest of it, I mean, this guy didn't shoot at all when he really probably, I think he was a good 3-point shooter. Yeah, I mean, he's slow, but he really should have been shooting probably more attempts and putting up more points per game. He's at 12. He got 11. He fouled out. Anyway, I would have upped his distro a little bit more and just, you got to be able to make sure that you're shooting enough 3-point attempts, because I wasn't worried about it at all, and it was able to result in me holding him to 45% from the field. It was probably like closer to 46% from 2 or whatever. So my second round matchup didn't have a lot of 3-point shooters, and I was like, hey, I wonder what's going to happen. Maybe I could pull the opposite again, and I lost by 30. So I got dominated. I swapped my lineup a little bit. So I switched Connor in, Fern in, I don't remember. And it didn't work. I kind of was hoping that if this team played a little bit more slow down, and they didn't, and then I was kind of hoping that these two would just light up the scoreboard, and they didn't, and that's fine. We are not very good this year. A second round is more than enough for me. We had to make some cuts, though, right? Like, I am as you guys recall from my last video, I did not have a very good recruiting class, and I needed to address some things. So I made some cuts. Some were fairly easy, right? Like, I cut Galligan. Athleticism turned very quickly. Defense turned very quickly. like immediately, shot blocking turn immediately, and suddenly it's just like, do I really want a 50? Yeah, these are his preseason. So do I really want somebody who's like 57 or something like that, sub 60 or sub 70, sub 60? I know I don't really care about block, but like with his athleticism being so low, his speed's okay. I don't know. I probably could have justified keeping him as a deep bench guy, but if there's better options on the table, I'd rather just go for those guys. I mean, he's going to be 100. He's going to be a decent scoring option, but again, just not the kind of piece I really want with him being so bad on defense. So punt him, get rid of him. He's not going to fit with the timeline anyway, and plus that recruiting class gives me PTSD right now, so I'm just glad I got rid of him. Then I had to make a decision between cutting a few guys. One that I ended up cutting was Stabler or Stabler. It doesn't matter now because he's not on the team. Stabler's interesting. Like, he could have fit in as a 3 guy for me, but I only got him because of his ball handling and passing, and they're going to be 85-85. So he's not bad. His stamina's not bad, but I just was able to get a really good class of guards, so he becomes a little bit more disposable at that point. He can't really play point guard with this low of speed. Like, I'd rather almost like 90 speed, and he's closer to 65. His stamina or his athleticism's good. His defense was okay. I don't think I practiced his defense a whole lot until the very end, but it only went up a point, which tells me it's probably pretty low growth. Let me see, was it? Yes, it was black. So I wasn't really confident in his defense being a big hit. In fact, it actually might have went down a point in the first half of the season. It didn't. I was kind of hoping just like maybe it turns blue. Maybe like if it goes down one, then he'll be in the 70s. But of course that didn't happen. But he just doesn't fit a role really cleanly. I mean, obviously he has the guard skills. He has okay defense. I could have put him at the 3 with that rebounding and block. I don't know. Maybe I could have kept him, but I'm happy with the class I ended up pulling in. So, and the reason I'll show you guys who I kept, and maybe I'll be able to explain why I liked that option more. So, Stabler cut option I could have done is if I had thought about it prior, I could have broken his promises. So he complained about minutes, and I could have broken the promises, and maybe he would have forced transfer, and then I would have gotten half resources in the second half of the season, and that could have been kind of nice. But it's nothing I planned for. So I'm glad I'm moving on from him, and I'm glad that class is mostly gone now. So the third guy I cut, and most heartbreakingly, was Fern, my sim signed guard from prior to me coming in. He was him and Connor are very similar, and Fern might have even been like 1% better or 1% worse. I don't know. I don't even really look at this. I haven't really looked like to compare those two that much, but I had somebody push on a recruit that I was not expecting to at the very, very, very end of RS1, and I had no money, so I was like, you know what? Let me just protect this guy. I will cut Fern, get the money for his resources, even though he's been with me this whole time, because he was recruited and signed by somebody else, Sim or another coach. I still get max scholarship resources, so I ended up getting the max resources, and then I can cover and make sure my guy was okay. So let's introduce you guys to the class, right? We got 6 guys total. We have Neely to start. He was D2 projected. He signed fairly quickly. I think he signed like 3rd cycle in. Completely uncontested, so I never had to offer anything. I debated offering him a red shirt because maybe his second year I want to redshirt him because he's pretty low. He has got a lot of greens, and some of them are pretty low, like passing, low post, and defense are all around 30 or lower. So like maybe a red shirt would have been beneficial. I think he'll be fine because I'll be able to get him a ton of playing time. He is, let's see, 70, 99. Was that 61, 59? 28 plus 28, 56, 57. No, that's not right. Whoa. 55 and whatever, 44 passing. So he's got decent guard skills. He's got okay speed. He's got, it's funny. I'm like, hey, I'm going to punt rebounding and shot blocking. And then he's like the complete opposite of what I'm like, I'm going to punt this. But he's got really good potential, and he was completely uncontested. So why not go for him, right? So I offered him 30 his first cycle in case another coach ended up looking, I wanted to at least be at moderate. And then I offered the scholarship, and I never put a single dollar, a single AP point into him. Got him without any contests. If that defense, I did speak to a coach, and they were kind of tracking some stuff loosely on. He believes there's a correlation between defense and athleticism, and it's like, I don't know. I'm kind of almost putting a couple eggs in that basket that like this will just turn like 40, at least get a little bit of growth first, and then swap over to 70. So what, he's 59, I said right now. If he can get into like at least low 60, mid 60s, even 70. Like if we got 70, that'd be sick. But even like mid 60s is fine. And then I always want those greens in low post and perimeter because those are the most likely to pop. As well as, hey, that's likely to pop too. So maybe he turns out to be a great passing big. But I'm hoping that he'll be a 4-man for me, and I love his stamina, and I see a lot of potential in him. Completely uncontested. I love that. Teisberg, for the sake of this video, he'll be Teisberg. He is about 70, about 95, about 71, about 85. Maybe he could also play power forward because he actually has the better ball handling of the two. He can't score, but that's okay. He's got really good. He's going to potentially be a really good defender. He's got that rebounding and shot block. That again, I keep saying I'm going to punt, but I just couldn't find any of the bigs I needed near me. And I think it's because I'm not looking hard enough to find them, to be honest. So I'm going to have to focus on that next cycle because I did sign a lot of guards this cycle. So, great stamina. He's going to be a really good defensive piece for me, and happy about him. I did offer him minutes. I kind of regretted it. I put in just enough to unlock him. I offered. And then by the next day at around 4, was around like 3-ish or 4-ish or whatever, I worried that if he even offered a scholarship, he would have, because I had the bare minimum in, and if he had offered a scholarship, that means he would have had the bare minimum in. His bare minimum is better than my bare minimum, so I did offer him, 15 minutes? Yeah, because he'll play that anyway. I only have 4 bigs. He'll play that easily. He does have low work ethic, which kind of sucks. He has like a lot of potentials, and I don't love that work ethic. He will be able to play a lot, which is really beneficial for me. But I was worried that, like, what if he offers at signings, he immediately takes the advantage from me. I didn't want that. I wanted to at least be the favorite in that potential battle. So I just offered the 15 minutes. Again, I was about to say I really regretted it. Not really, but to some extent I did. So happy about him. And now comes all the guards. Starting with Negron, also D2 projected. So I actually had a really good D2 recruit pool near me. Luckily, because I was there's a coach who took over D2 Hawaii, and I was like scouting Hawaii. There's so many good players there. And all of a sudden I'm like, wait, no, somebody's in Hawaii. So the joke of going to Hawaii is unfortunately likely done. I'm not going to try and battle somebody for Hawaii, for a Hawaii recruit who lives in Hawaii. That's too much for me. So the dream is dead, but we go on with Negron, who, for a D2 projected, 84, 83, 77, 61 as minimums, with almost 100 stamina, good shooting, good free throw shooting, good low post, so 30 to 38 low post. He does lack the passing from the guard position. I could always slide him to the 3, but then his low post isn't as impactful. I love him as a 2 guard. He's phenomenal. I found a 3 guard anyway, so I think he's great. He's going to be a really high volume scorer for me. If these hit in any capacity, if he's say 90s in those, like, that's massive. As well as 80 in this, perfect stamina. Like, no, I don't love 39 black passing, but if that hits average, like the average of a black, so that would be 14. He's still over a 50 passing. I could throw that at the 2 guard. Or could throw it at 3, so who knows? Or maybe he's a backup and he can run like the backup 2-3 option for me. He's interesting. I like him. He fills a really impactful role as a scorer, and luckily I got a lot of those, which I don't feel like I had going into this season. So happy about Negron. I did max spend on him. I got 35 and I unlocked. And then the next morning, so this was the first night of recruiting, the next morning someone appeared, so I offered max promises. And then I kind of just bided my time, and I waited until the moment of signings. I was at low or moderate the whole time, but I knew that I had all the money I wanted to spend was going to go into him. I put in a ton of AP, so 612. That's really good. He signed the second cycle of signings, so I got him. That's pretty good for that amount of time period. He averaged 51. I might have missed a cycle or two, but average 51 per cycle. That's pretty good. I had knocked him after I full dumped. He wasn't early, so I waited till the first cycle, and I full dumped, and he knocked him to moderate, and then he did enough to get into roll. Luckily for my first roll win at Fort Lewis, I think I'm 1-3 or something like that. 1-4. 1-3 sounds right. I finally win a roll, so finally I have somebody on my roster who is worth fighting for. Again, really good player, good defensive player, happy about him. Pfeiffer, okay, he is a superstar. How did I get him? He's from Alabama. He's a 3 years remaining guy. Why was I scouting Alabama? I wasn't. He was a JUCO, so that's what that typically means is they're a JUCO player. It says it right there. What I should say is he was ineligible last year. He was a recruit last year. He was ineligible. I put nothing into him. I just put him on that board. I don't even know if I had him initially on my board last year. I might have tracked him because the cheater assigned him, and I might have just been trying to keep an eye on what was going on there. So, but I'm pretty sure I had him on my board early on. I think he was the only other recruit I was able to find for that guy. So he ends up going when they choose to go JUCO instead of going right into your school and remaining ineligible for their first year. They do lose a year, but they stay on your board, and any effort that you put into them, so any AP, home visits, promises, any of the scholarship, all of that, you get, I believe, 25% carryover. I believe it's 25%, so you reduce 75% of your effort, but that's still pretty substantial. If I say I had put in 20 home visits, I essentially have a 5 home visit leg up on anyone who wants to go for him next year. I waited until the second day, so it started on 6/28. I waited till the 29th at 5 when I saw a D3 appear on him, and I was like, okay, if no other D2 is going to go for him, I would like him. I was at a bit of an advantage because Fluff Nasty is still listed at his school, and there was no chance that Fluff Nasty was going to be able to get him because he's blocked from his account because he's a stupid cheater. So I saw Miller on there. Miller wasn't putting any progress into him. The sim was there. The sim wasn't going to because the sim was already knocked down to very low, and Fluff was at very high. And then Emery, I think it was Emery appeared. Or maybe I just noticed after a day and was like, all right, I'm just going to go snag that guy. I mean, this guy's awesome. 83, 87, 75. 42, 68, 62 minimums. He's got the greens in the 3 big categories, the low post, perimeter, and then passing, with these 2 obviously being the bigger greens. He's got good stamina. His work ethic is not great, but I offered them the red shirt and said, hey, if he can sit for a year, he learns my offensive defense for a year, he will be right on back. He'll be right on track with all the other people in this class come that 4th year. So, come that, I guess it would be his second year. He'd be all caught up to them. Superstar player, really happy I got him. I think people maybe were hesitant for people who are not chronically online, but I have always claimed that this game is easier the more you look at stuff. So the more you go through your recruit pool, for example, you will see oh wait, this team's over here, here, and here. You start to pick up on stuff. So got him. He was being kind of shielded, but I have no regrets because I got screwed last year, and this kind of made me happy that I get his recruit, and he will be on a team who will actually care for him and not cheat. Fluff Nasty is the kind of guy who's totally going to write in the Discord oh, so you went for my player? What's the difference? Anyway, moving on. Not going to harp on that. Michael Blevins was a. So I had 3 guys. I had those. I had Neely, Pfeiffer, and Negron all sign in period 1, where I had only had 3 openings. So a lot of the work I was doing from that point on, and they all signed pretty early, was with 20 AP, just trying to make sure I was covering my guys. And that's when I started to get nervous because I was on Blevins. And for, I believe, the second time in 3 years, Jay here was on Blevins at moderate, but no offer. So I'm looking at that going, oh, then if he's not committing to this, I'm going to fully go into this. he did the same thing with Alfred Campbell, who ended up he's a pretty good player for me. So he's done that before, where he's kind of you pick on recruiting habits, like he's protected, he's gone on guys, and then he just never really pushes them further. I'm just going to start jumping on that. But Dean ended up showing up late in RS2, so then I started getting nervous, which led to me kind of coming to the conclusion of I probably need to cut Fern, because if he's going to make a surprise push in RS2, I need to be ready for it. Where I kind of reallocated all 20 AP into him and was just hoping that that would be enough for me to get a roll, and it didn't even turn into that. He never even went for the guy. If he hits his averages, right, so 50, 84, 70, with potential bombs in his 45 low post, 79 perimeter, and 57 passing, with good ball handling to start, and really good stamina. This is a monster of a player, potentially. He really, a lot of that's going to be dictated on how much of a speed boost he gets. If he gets 7, that's going to suck. If he gets 19, he's more like an 89 guy. He could be a star, as well as obviously his greens matter. But I'm almost like banking on those being hits, which is really stupid. I should not do that. It's a great way to let yourself down. His athleticism looks low, so it scares a lot of D1 teams away, but I know that that'll at least be 50, which is tolerable for me. Really happy about him. I ended up, again, having to spend a little bit on him. I unlocked him, and then I was kind of just, I pulled back minutes. I offered minutes with the scholarship. I think to make sure if Jay offered, same thing, if Jay offered, Jay would still not have an advantage over me. And then when I saw Dean jump on, I was like, okay, I need to start really putting in as much as I can into this guy, and it worked out. This 40 was after I cut Fern. I had an extra 40. Then after that first signing cycle, Dean didn't push, so then I split my AP 17 apiece. I know it's an odd number, but I think somebody signs, and you can get odd numbers at times based on you had 6 openings, but 2 signed, and you cut another, and whatever. And then when the other guy signed, I put the remaining 27 into Blevins. Owen Byrne, he's one of my I think he's my favorite of the class. 69 minimum, 87 minimum, 71 minimum, with 79 minimum low post as a guard is crazy. He's got, and if you add into things that matter as a slasher, speed, athleticism, perimeter, his ball handling is already okay. He's got good stamina. I hate that it's a D+, but whatever. I'll just deal with it. He's got good passing, so I love Byrne. What happened? I immediately got in 10, went, oh, this guy's attainable. Let me go put in 75 and try and just unlock him as soon as I can. I got the remaining 17 out, and this was the cycle that Utah appeared. And I went, crap. See something, Utah just grabbed this guy from me. And I'm looking at it going, is Cub really going to hold on to this guy? Maybe I should look at what else Cub is doing. And Cub has some guys had this guy and another, and I was kind of looking at going, I don't know if Cub's going to sign both. So let me go see what he's up to. Let me keep a tab on all his guys. So I put these 2 guys, and I was just kind of keeping an eye on them about what Utah was doing. Did he end up filling all his scholarships? I think he had 3. Yeah, so he signed all his other guys. I was then left with okay, well, I can go for, here's what happened. I went, let me at least put in the offer. If Cub ends up pulling his offer, at least I know I got a scholarship in, and I'll be ahead of the pack. And if not, then I'll just attack one of the other guys that he pulls on. In the meantime, I tried going for Larry Schultz. Now, with Larry Schultz, I started making a move, but I was a little late, and I also had to start making sure I had enough going on with Negron in the battle. So then I'm kind of sitting there going, okay, I need a little bit more to unlock, And by the time I finally got the scholarship, I was at low, and the sim who I suddenly started battling, Oral Roberts, was at a very high. I did a home visit, I did a promise start, and I barely budged. So I just said, I got the moderate, but I wasn't going to. What happened was, okay, I need to stop talking so fast. I got the moderate. I only knocked him down to high, and I could not out AP for this guy if I wanted Negron as well. So I went with the battle rather than the likely loss anyway, with me being a D minus and him being I think this was a D or something like that. So around that same time, Cub ended up pulling on this guy, and Cub's not even anywhere to be seen because he pulled the offer, and he might have even offered a red shirt, or pulled the offer and offered red shirt. So 2 negative actions completely wipes him off the board, and then it appears that right from there I'm at moderate, and it looks like I've been very invested the whole time, hoping that, knowing nobody knows that's not true. I was not invested the whole time. I just needed to make sure that it looked like I was. So I immediately offered the guaranteed starter and minutes, and just kept. I put in as much AP as I could. I didn't have a lot, especially with after Negron signed. Then I was like, okay, well, Dean's now looking at my guy, and so I couldn't really protect Burn, but I made sure I put in as much as I could because this guy. I mean, I think he's going to be a star offensive player for me. So very pumped about him. This is generally my board. I only removed like 2 guys only because of they were not signed, and I didn't want to make this video with unsigned guys' potentials being shown. So this is generally my board. You can see a little bit of Chaminade or whatever the school is, Chaminade. A little bit of Northwest Naz. You can kind of see the guys that I'm kind of going for. This should not be there next time. Probably, I'm just not going to be looking at Hawaii at all anymore, which probably saves me a ton of money. I do need more bigs, and I need more like good bigs. I actually just spoke to somebody yesterday. They shared their class, and I was like, damn, I wish those kind of bigs generated near me. And he goes, they did. And he told me where they were. I mean, they were already signed, and he told me who they were. And I go, oh crap, I would have totally went for those guys. I think I just kind of default look more towards guards. But it was 2 really good bigs that I could have battled for, and I'm like, well, crap. Like, I'm really glad I got all these guards, but my bigs are definitely a little weaker between these 2. I'm going to need to be very focused on getting some big man help next year. So maybe scouting a little bit more bigs and looking for like those hyper athletic defensive scorers, which I know it sounds obvious, but it's like I'll punt that rebounding and shot blocking and just try and get some guys who are really talented in other ways. As for next season, like Kells can help carry. So the only other human in my conference, there's only one other human in my conference right now, Takeover. I could win this conference. I could win it going. I should be able to do very well enough to make the national tournament every year. I should have Kells, Connor, Campbell leading the scoring charge, as well as Hobson, who's actually developed pretty well. He was actually cut. He was in that cut territory early on, and he's developed pretty well. I ended up keeping Collins. I was going to go over this earlier. So why him over Stabler? Stabler had better athleticism. Collins is going to end up with better speed. I don't remember who has. I think Stabler has slightly, probably like 8 more or 10 more defense, but Collins has like top end scoring potential with his ball handling and passing. His ball handling and perimeter. Yeah, he's a little limited in speed, but I like these 3 greens in these cores. I want to start looking a little bit more at his rebounding. Yeah, his stamina's not ideal, but like he's gonna probably have to start for me next year, and I just need to get him as much playing time as I can to see what's going on there, because this is really intriguing. The fact that nothing turned after his first year, 95, 96, 67 with 76 passing or stamina. He'll just, even if he's a bench guy for me, that's awesome. Especially with how much stamina I have in the class below him, he could turn out to be awesome for me. So, very happy about keeping him. Maybe Stabler was the right choice. I don't know. That's up to be seen based on how I recruit the rest and how some of these potentials pan out, because I really need passing, but I think I can get it out of other guys. Like if Blevins pops here, or if Owen Burns turns like 14, he's a 65-71. That's actually not that great. But if Blevins pops, or I can just go grab another guard next season. So happy about that. All right, so that's the video for today. I think I should be able to consistently make the tournament at this point going forward. I'm happy with how the team is looking going forward. I'm finally feeling like this recruiting class, we really found our footing there. Let me know if you guys have any questions or if you want me to go over anything. Best of luck as always, and hope you guys have a good rest of your day. Later.